Hello, everybody. If you are an Aryan sun or sun in the first house, this is a prognosis for you. Aries type sun has no need for other people or other people's involvement in their progress. Well, yes, if you have a lot of stimulation from other people or of other people around you, I have a feeling that you will nurture it for a while, but after a while you'll get sad or depressed because Aryan Sun has to have solitude and self-forgiveness for that. Forgive yourself, Aries Sun and First House Sun, for being a little bit rebellious and a little bit off center and off kilter, because that is your job. You are meant to be something completely offbeat for a lot of people, and you're meant to be somebody who even butts heads or struggles to survive in a social environment. And for that antisocial trait, you must forgive yourself, even though many around you will say that you're selfish. Many around you will say that you're stubborn or that you need to forgive them and you need to be forgiven by them. But this is not about them, my friend. This is just about you. First house sun, Aries sun, must be centered on yourself. There is no need to plunder around seeing what other people are doing. What are they offering? What are they thinking? What are they imagining? Because the more that you give to yourself through other people, the more you will just survive or like struggle with yourself. But in parts, sometimes other people will come in when it's time to give you knowledge and when it's time to give you power and fulfillment. But when it's time, and timing is something that Aries Sun, First House Sun doesn't quite know. And that's okay, because that will be shown through other people. But by the way that you are, and by the way that you move, and by the way that you groove in this lifetime, you must understand that things are not about you for others. But at the same time, you must be all about you for yourself. It's like a very funny joke. When you are full of self-importance, sometimes people will shun and persecute you because they won't understand why this person has the ability or the amount of self-forgiveness to finally be self-centered in a complete way. But at the same time, they will not want to mimic you either, because people will just find you annoying or frustrating when you are in your own environment, king or queen. When you are feeling 100%, quite often somebody will come along and tell you off. And quite frequently, these people, First House Sun, Aries Sun, will find nurturing through others who do not agree with them sometimes. And that is something that you have to forgive them as well as yourself. People will not want you to be happy sometimes, and often you will see that as a nurturing factor, like they're just looking out for me, you know, like I've been like really drunk before and my friend is telling me off for being able to consume so much alcohol, you know, well, they're just looking after me. And sometimes we do, as you know, First House Suns, Aries Suns, when they approach us, we as a collective looking at you, we do want you to stop, and we do want to like sort of tap you on the shoulder and be like, no, you don't need to do that. And sometimes it's good and sometimes it's loving, but often when lines are crossed too much, Aries Sun can find themselves in the company of others that tell them off way too much and too harshly, and even sometimes like lead them. And when you're in a position of the led person, you're not in your vibe, you're not in your joy, because when you're led by other people, even though sometimes you feel like they will know the truth for me and they will show me exactly where I need to be, those people are, needless to say, toxic in your life. When you got somebody who's always looking over your shoulder, always looking after you, always looking around for you, there is a need to let them go, because this solar energy for Aries and First House Aries, First House Sun, it's really important to undertake no responsibility, but only responsibility, super responsibility for yourself, but no responsibility of what you do to them or how you are with them. And that's sometimes something that we struggle to understand about you, First House Sun, Aries Sun, is that you don't give a shit, really. Inside, you have to not give a shit in order to be the progressive being that you are. And it's something that is very hard for society to understand, for people to admit, you know, for people to realize about you, is that you don't really need to care. You don't really need to worry, and you don't really need in this lifetime to suffer for others. It's like a very plain life, and sometimes this life for you is like a balancing act. You know, it's like, oh, I give and I take, but you know, this person was there, I should really give them more, and goodness gracious. So become like the opposite sign of Libra, because people come into your life to teach you something about balance, but at the same time you have to persevere in yourself, persevere in your mind, and also like more in the physical. Like if you've got an itch, you've got to scratch it, and even if it's wrong sometimes, but you learn through one mistake, and usually when you are connected to yourself, you don't have to do it over again. So for example, if you've got any kind of a compulsion, say you are drinking every time you go out, there is a need to know that you know, and to admit to yourself that you know that it's not good. And sometimes it's hard because Aries Sun first house suns, they will not usually admit that they know things, just to let other people care for them, or just to let another person stumble around for them, or stumble up on them, or stumble around people. Like they sort of connect to people in this weird way where they need to be saved sometimes. And that can really suffocate your joy and you know, wholeness, when you feel like someone's worried about you and your life is like, I'm worried about them, they're worried about me. That is really bad. But quite constantly this person would succumb to an understanding very quickly in whatever situation. So for example, you're at a park, you know, you ran and then you fell, and then you'll just know what you did physically, like on an intuitive level, what it is that you manifested, how you manifested the fall. You'll just know and not to do it again. But then if you're in a compulsive way, say you're struggling with the diet and you're eating a lot of things, and usually Aries Sun first house Sun can pack on a lot of weight later in life if they don't stop a certain habit. If you are sort of looking at how you are progressing due to metabolism issues, metabolism changes, and like you're not like altering your lifestyle, or you're competing against yourself in a certain like unraveling pattern, you're drinking and you're driving, or you're doing something weird, it is most likely that it's an emotional frequency that you're seeking. It is most likely that it's an emotional frequency that you're seeking in the experience of, say, consuming meat 3 times a day every day, or giving yourself sort of some kind of a pat on the back from another person all the time, looking for forgiveness from other people. Like if there is a compulsive pattern, usually Aries Sun knows why and how, but it's an inner knowledge, it's like an inertia. So sometimes they just need to stumble and fall and create situations in which nobody can help them or nobody can heal them once and for all. And when they see that nobody can save them from that particular type of issue, then they can let go of that issue altogether. But sometimes it's really hard to find the balls and the strength or the ovaries to commit to that kind of experience where you're completely alone. So Aries Sun first house Sun, yes, you are somebody who knows who they are very well. You're very wise with your body and your form, and you know exactly what makes what happen. There's an inertia inside, there's a freshness inside, there's a realization that's happening all the time, and there's a fire within that is clear and bright. But at the same time, if you've got any kind of pattern and stagnant information that keeps on rolling around, and you say, it's my moon, my ascendant is in Scorpio, it's so hard, you know, anything like that, I have a feeling that you need to bite it. You just need to bite it and just do it. Okay, like for example, you've got an issue, you're a gambler, you know, and then like take all this money, like just take all like this whole hand, like it needs to be like inertia type feeling, only when you feel it, because you have a better inertia than me. I'm just Libra 11th house Sun. I don't have the inertia that you have. So just like take a whole bunch of money if you've got a gambling issue and just throw it out the window. So you've done it, you lost a lot of money, and then just it's like the same, but then like that pattern will continue otherwise. Like you got to do it. For example, if you're a man, you've been cheating on your wife for a while and you're going in a pattern with all these other women, you know, and you're Aries Sun, a first house Sun, and you know it's no good for you, you know, but what you're addicted to, maybe coming home to your wife and crying inside but smiling on the outside, or maybe that she doesn't know, maybe she knows and she doesn't say anything, maybe there's some kind of a tension there that you're involving yourself in that is more joyous in the actual experience, and you're sort of addicted to that survival energy, the survival energy inside the home after you've cheated on your wife and you come home. So what do? Well, go outside somewhere, take off your clothes and go, my genitals are out there, everybody can see my genitals, you know, and just like look around, wave at people, take some photos, put them online. Something like that, like something like completely disempowering, something completely exposing. And sometimes Aries is taught to refrain from that kind of behavior from society, but I really feel that first house sun and Aries sun, they need to have those explosions when they are like completely exposed or they lose a lot. They're like in a great sense of loss, just to know that they can stop a pattern and that they can get enough from that sort of first initial shock to fulfill them emotionally or physically or mentally, then have a certain pattern going in your life. Anyway, in terms of money, procreation, recreation, I feel that money comes to you in a very easy stream when you are in a shocking sense to other people. You're admirable when you're shocking, and it's really funny and it's a totally weird oxymoron, but people want you to calm down and relax and relate to other people, but at the same time, when you're a shocker and you're just like by yourself and you're doing things and you don't care, you don't give a shit, people are drawn to that. Money's drawn to that. Women are drawn to that. Men, not so much, because Aries is a masculine sign, but you sort of dominate. You dominate whatever you do when you are in a state of I don't care. I really don't care. But the toxic experiences in the money spending over the top and kind of dealing with drugs and like alcohol and any kind of like strange situations is very focused for Aries right now because of how we place. But I feel that whatever destructive experiences that you have had or have, they need to be really forgotten. Like you do it and it has to be forgot, almost like I've done it, I had to, and now I have to forget about it, because otherwise Aries kind of goes in a circle. What else? Fulfillment through music, through the arts. You have to be the first at something. And a lot of Aries that I know, they kind of repeat patterns. Like say my dad was an Aries and he really enjoyed a certain art form in his country, like a certain type of jewelry. He was a jewelry maker, he was a jeweler. And he made a lot of jewelry, but he didn't quite get it. Like he didn't quite crack it. You know, I had another friend that he's like following a certain energy of music and he's creating the same kind of music quite a lot, and he's finding it really hard to stray away from a certain pattern. If you're in that type of experience and you're trying to fit into a certain genre, don't waste your time, because an Aries that follows a genre or like goes with the same kind of vibe as other people, everyone likes this music, and I'll make it very simple. Anything like that, Aries, don't spend your time doing those things until you can scream out on top of everyone, be like, that's not the way, this is the way, and then people will just follow you or flood you. They will be like, whoa, like that guy or girl has done this thing and I never actually seen anything like it, because the Aryan energy is meant to be unfocused on other people to the point where it's destructive of the previous systems, because it's kind of your thing. You come in to destroy. You are like the baby of the horoscope. If you imagine the previous sign Pisces and it's really placid and it's like the old man or the old woman and it's like, things are exactly as they were, as they are, as they were, as they are, and you just come out and you're like, fuck that, I'm going to completely kill the system in order to become new, and then whatever happens to me happens to me. It's like a very destructive inertia that Aries has that has to be understood and complied with. It's like if that's part of your system, you can't rely on it to get you anywhere, get you very far, unless you understand it and you forgive it. So forgive yourself for your inertia and celebrate it and enjoy the ride. Thank you very much, Aries, and I hope you have a wonderful time. Thank you.